You're making a solid salary, maybe 50, 60, even $80,000 a year, and somehow every single month you end up in the exact same spot wondering where it all went. Sound familiar? Here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. According to recent data, nearly 60% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck are not poor. They are middle-income earners. People with decent jobs, real salaries, and absolutely nothing to show for it at the end of the month. This is not a money problem. This is a system problem. And today I am going to give you the one daily habit that fixes it completely, step by step. I have spent years studying how ordinary people with average incomes build extraordinary wealth, and I can tell you with total confidence that the gap between broke and financially free is not your salary. It is what you do every single day with it. Here is what I want you to do right now. Stay with me until the very end of this video because the most powerful insight I have is the last one I am going to share. People who skip to the end miss the setup that makes it actually work. So stick around, because by the time we are done, you will have a complete daily framework that makes staying financially stuck almost mathematically impossible. Point 1, stop thinking monthly, start thinking daily. Here is where most people go wrong before they even get started. They budget monthly, they plan monthly, they review monthly. And the problem with monthly thinking is that the feedback loop is way too long. Think about it this way: if you make a terrible spending decision on the 3rd of the month, you will not feel the consequences until you sit down to review your budget on the 31st. That is almost 4 weeks of drifting in the wrong direction before you even notice. Daily thinking compresses that loop down to 24 hours. Each day becomes its own small financial game that you either win or lose, and you find out the result before you go to sleep. That shift alone changes everything about how you relate to your money. Coming up, I will show you exactly what that daily habit looks like in practice, starting with the very first 60 seconds of your morning. Point 2. The morning money check-in. Every morning before you open Instagram, before you read emails, before you do anything else, open your banking app and look at 3 numbers: your checking account balance, your total debt balance, your savings or investment balance. That is it. Do not analyze, do not spiral, just look. This habit sounds almost insultingly simple, but here is what happens inside your brain when you do this consistently. Your subconscious starts treating those numbers as important. Financial data that you look at once a month feels abstract and distant. Financial data you look at every single morning feels urgent and real. It quietly reshapes every decision you make throughout the day. The coworker who suggests ordering in for lunch, you just saw your checking balance an hour ago. The decision feels different now. The impulse buy you almost made at 2 p.m., same thing. You have got a number in your head that keeps you anchored. This daily check-in costs you 60 seconds and returns your attention to what actually matters before the noise of the day pulls you away from it. Point 3, automate a daily transfer you will never miss. Here is the move that actually builds your wealth while you are sleeping, eating, arguing with traffic, and going about your day. Set up an automatic daily transfer from your checking account into a completely separate savings or investment account. Now, before you panic, I am not talking about hundreds of dollars. Start with $5 a day, maybe 10. The amount is almost irrelevant at first. Here is why this works better than a monthly transfer. When you move $300 in one shot at the end of the month, your brain registers it as a loss. Loss aversion kicks in, and sometimes you skip it because the timing feels wrong. But a $10 daily transfer, your checking balance barely moves, your brain does not raise the alarm. The transfer happens quietly in the background every single day. Over a month, you have saved the same $300 without fighting your own psychology to do it. $5 daily becomes almost $1,800 in a year. $10 daily becomes over $3,600. $20 a day, that is $7,300 annually without a single budget meeting or willpower battle. Still with me? Good, because this next part is where most people completely fall apart even when they have nailed everything else so far. Point 4, the evening spending audit. Every evening, spend 2 minutes scrolling through your transactions from that day. Not to judge yourself, not to feel terrible, just to categorize each purchase into one of 2 buckets: intentional or reactive. Intentional spending is planned, necessary, or aligned with something you actually value. Reactive spending is emotional, impulsive, or mindless. Here is the power of doing this at the end of every day instead of once a month. The emotional memory is still fresh. You remember exactly what mood you were in when you bought that thing at 4 p.m. You remember that you were stressed or bored or just had a bad meeting. Within 2 weeks of this habit, your reactive spending patterns will become completely obvious to you. Maybe you overspend on food when work is stressful. Maybe late-night browsing is your financial weak spot. Once you know your triggers, you can actually address them instead of just hoping willpower kicks in at the right moment. Point 5, invest 15 minutes a day in your earning power. Here is the habit most financial videos skip entirely. Every single day, spend 15 focused minutes learning something that directly increases what you are worth in the marketplace. Read about your industry, study negotiation, learn a new technical skill, develop your communication ability. Your income right now represents the current market value of your skills and knowledge. That number is not fixed. It grows when you grow it deliberately. 15 minutes a day adds up to over 90 hours a year of intentional skill development. Think about two people starting at the same job at age 25. One spends downtime on entertainment, the other spends 15 minutes every day sharpening their skills. 10 years later, their incomes look nothing alike. The daily learner has accumulated over 900 hours of additional development. That is nearly a full year of extra education quietly built in the margins of a normal life. Point 6. The 3-minute tomorrow plan. Before bed tonight and every night, spend 3 minutes planning tomorrow's financial behavior. Not in vague terms like I will try to spend less. Be specific. What will you bring for lunch? Which spending decisions will you face? What will your 15-minute learning session cover? Research on what psychologists call implementation intentions shows that people who decide in advance exactly when and how they will do something are dramatically more likely to actually follow through than people who simply mean to do it. 3 minutes of specific evening planning removes the friction from tomorrow morning and prevents the reactive decision-making that quietly drains your bank account all day long. And now, here is the insight I saved for last. The one that makes everything else actually stick. Point 7. The identity shift that changes everything. Every single habit I just described is valuable on its own. But combined, over time, they do something far more powerful than save you money. They change who you believe yourself to be. After 30 days of these daily habits, you stop being someone who is trying to get better with money. You become someone who builds wealth. That identity shift is the real secret. Because when your behavior is driven by who you are rather than what you are trying to do, consistency stops requiring willpower. You do not have to fight yourself every morning to open the banking app. It is just what you do, because it is who you are. That is why the wealthy people you know personally did not get there through occasional bursts of financial discipline. They built daily systems so consistent that wealth became their identity long before their bank account reflected it. The question you have to answer right now is simple. Which person do you want to be in 5 years? The one who watched this video thought that's great and went back to the same patterns? Or the one who started the 60-second morning check-in tomorrow and never looked back? Here is your action right now. Literally right now before this video ends. Set an alarm on your phone for tomorrow morning, label it Money Minute. That one action creates real commitment to starting. It costs you nothing and it starts everything. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 5 habits is the one you have been skipping the most. Is it the morning check-in, the daily transfer, or something else? Be honest, because your answer tells you exactly where to start. If the value in this video helped shift how you think about your daily financial habits, subscribing means you will get this kind of practical, psychology-backed financial strategy every single week. No fluff, no generic advice, just real frameworks you can actually use. And if you want to go deeper on the money mindset side of this, check out the video I put up last week on why your relationship with money is silently sabotaging your income. It pairs perfectly with everything we covered today. Until next time, small daily actions compounded over time always win. Go set that alarm.